Okay, it's game time.
Shoot!
Down!
Hasta luego.
I have this.
Feast on this!
What up, it's Shankster94, and welcome to my ultimate weapon showcase of Resident Evil Gaiden. So if you'd like to jump straight to the weapons, please follow this timestamp on the screen, or follow the chapter list, because even for arguably the most simplistic game in the entire Resident Evil franchise, I still have a whole prologue I'd like to convey, so skip ahead if you're not interested. Just know my commentary comes with the territory. So, Resident Evil Gaiden is quite a unique game. It is the only Resident Evil title released on the Game Boy Color handheld system. I provided emphasis on released because technically, the very first Resident Evil game has an unreleased Game Boy Color build. Back to Gaiden though, this is a top-down perspective side-scroller with minimal graphic design and only 8 bits of processing power. Despite that, as I said at the end of my previous weapon showcase of Survivor 2, I have more enthusiasm for this game than the former because at least this is a whole new game and not just a giant asset carryover with tweaked gameplay. When it comes to weapons, the simplicity is pretty outstanding. This game contains the lowest amount of weaponry in the entire series of games, totaling only 7. A major element missing from the last game does return, and that's weapon descriptions. Ammo is still not an item contained in the inventory, but at least it has a description when acquiring it, so I can still showcase it. Each individual firearm in this game has its own ammo, so I'll read over the ammo descriptions after the weapons for this one. Weapon gameplay is drastically separate from character gameplay by means of entering a sort of battle phase against enemies and pressing the action button when a slider goes over discernible zones on a line, with the center of the zones acting as bullseyes and landing headshots. The length of the zones is dependent on the distance to the targets when initiating battle. The weapons aren't visible on screen whatsoever, so there still won't be reloading animations. So now let me share the way I'm playing Resident Evil Gaiden for the showcase. I'm using an emulator called SameBoy, which emulates both the classic Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. This emulator allows me to upscale elements to supposedly 4K and sports graphical filters to smooth out the pixels and enhance the color. Here's a comparison to my original weapon review, just to show that even a game as low res as this will have the quote-unquote ultimate tune-up and fit in with my second remaking era. Another improvement, even though it's not going to be very noticeable in this showcase, is a frame rate boost. The game is actually running at 60 frames per second, while in the original review it was only running at 30. So now to go over my step-by-step routine for showcasing weapons, specifically for this game. As usual, I'll use snippets from the original review to demonstrate. Before showcasing begins, I'll first sort the weapons into classes and place them in a rough order of firepower. If there's more than one weapon in a class, then they'll be showcased in order of retrieval. I'll start showcasing by introducing each weapon in the inventory and read their in-game description, then directly follow up with the ammunition they use. If the specific gun has had any previous appearances in the series, I'll mention each and every one. Afterwards, I'll provide a real-life image of the weapon if applicable. As a disclaimer for all weapon showcases on the channel, the source of my information is the Internet Movie Firearms Database, an online weapon wiki for movies, TV, and video games whose pages can be edited by virtually anyone, which bears the risk of misinformation and absent details when claiming the real-life versions of game weapons. People who dabble in weaponry may feel entitled to point out those potential errors, but once the video is uploaded, nothing can be reasonably done beyond a comment and a tweak to the video's description. Following the in real life mention, I'll proceed to reveal where the weapons are located in the game. After this, it'll be time to show the weapon in action. Normally, I'd first test fire the weapon in an enemy-free environment, but since weapons can't be used outside of battle in this game, I will head straight into enemy testing. For this showcase, I will conduct testing of the weapons on a single enemy, similar to how I did for Resident Evil Survivor. This is because Gaiden also has the lowest variety of enemies, with almost all of them just being zombies with different aggression levels. After reviewing the results of the enemy test, I will declare the current weapon concluded and share in-game cutscenes, or in this case, stills, depicting it being handled. This will smoothly transition into the next weapon of the lineup, and the process restarts. Once I've looked over all of the weapons of the game, I'll add the number of them to the overall total weapon count of the series, and then announce the next game in the series. Alrighty people, you've reached the end of my convoluted prologue, and now it's time to go over some 8-bit weaponry. Enjoy! Alright, let's begin with the usual starting weapon, a knife. The knife is standard issue combat gear often used to fend off enemies when no other weapon is available. That's a pretty nice description, I'll give it that. Now, looking at the knife, and most of the weapons in this game, when we look at them like this, they're gonna look like toys because of the pixel, 8-bit stuff. But yeah, that literally looks like a toy knife to me. That being said, I don't think it's worth comparing to any real-life knife because I have no idea what it could be similar to. But just for comedic value, here's a picture of a real-life toy knife. Alright, so Barry starts right off with the knife in his inventory, and of course it can be used by any other character. Just so you guys know, it doesn't matter which character you're using at any point, they all share the same inventory. So the thing about the knife is when you're aiming like this, its range is very short. I cannot get the crosshairs any farther than that. So this is a close range only weapon, and that being said, you cannot hope to land any hits with this weapon if you're at far or mid range. It only works at close range. So let's test it out, why don't we, on a zombie. Oh, and just so everyone knows, I am going to test every weapon on this specific zombie, a decomposed crowbar zombie. This is the strongest recurring zombie in the game. Oh, he's still alive. Okay, well that's actually cool that that happened because I can confidently say now that when a zombie is grounded like that, but it's not necessarily dead, and the fight initiates again, it's basically a whole nother fight. Their health resets. So I'm going to just go ahead and conclude that the knife takes 14 slashes against a decomposed crowbar zombie. Now, those were body shots. I made sure deliberately not to do any critical headshots, but let's test it again with headshots just to see the difference you can make. And also just to show you guys, the knife really doesn't work even at mid-range. All right, headshots only. Okay, so with purely critical headshots, I got it down to just 8 slashes. So yeah, obviously you always want to go for that center point and get those criticals. Just needed to show you the difference there. I might as well do that with every weapon to really represent the difference it makes. I wouldn't mind, especially with only 7 weapons. But there you go, that's the knife for you guys. Alright, turning on the heat for this weapon showcase, let's move into the firearms. The first one, the handgun. Generic handgun. The trusty handgun is standard issue combat arsenal. This weapon is easy to aim, but inflicts low damage. Alrighty then, and now to go over the ammo. Handgun bullets. These bullets are used with the handgun. A completely circular definition. Okay, well, I have to warn you guys here and now, I'm pretty sure every ammo box in this game is gonna have a circular definition, just like this one. But at least we get to see the ammo this time, unlike Survivor 2. So upon inspection, this is very likely the Glock 17. Same one that we've seen in Survivor and Code Veronica X. And of course, here it is compared to its real-life counterpart. And if I show you a still shot of it in cutscene, it really is likely the Glock 17. So just like the knife, Barry starts with it in his inventory at the start of the game. As you can see, now that we're off the knife, we have a lot farther range with the crosshair and everything. So one thing I am going to test with this weapon and this weapon alone is range, just to see if it does make a difference. So when I battle this zombie, first I'm going to test it with far range only, and then I'll do another test at close range. So let's get into it. Okay, so at far range with body shots only, it took 9 shots from the handgun. Now let's conduct another test at close range only. Ooh, it only took 7 shots. Let's make absolutely sure. Okay, it's a good thing I did that. It turns out range could make a difference, because at far range it took 9 shots, while at close range it took 7 shots. So the closer the better, I suppose, which for most weapons that would be the case, especially ones that have spread, like the shotgun, for example. Alrighty then, now let's conduct a third test with critical shots only. Alright, so with critical shots only, it takes only 5 shots from the handgun to defeat a decomposed crowbar zombie. Alrighty, well, I think that's all I have to say about the handgun, so that's gonna conclude the one and only handgun. Alright, raising the fire rate, let's get into the one and only machine gun, the assault rifle. This is a fully automatic long burst weapon. It is slightly tricky to aim, but can deliver reasonable damage. Alrighty then. And now to see this weapon's ammo circular definition. Assault rifle bullet clip. This bullet clip is used with the assault rifle. Okay, not only is that a circular definition, but just like Resident Evil 1, I'm pretty sure that's a magazine, not a clip. Now, this particular rifle, according to imfdb.org, is based off of the Colt law enforcement carbine, which does call back to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis as the inventory icon for the assault rifle of that game. But this is a slightly different rifle than the actual rifle that you see in-game in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which was an M4A1 carbine. Now, that's just based off of imfdb.org. To me, this is the most generic-looking assault rifle I've ever seen. I wouldn't have been able to deduce which assault rifle in real life that could possibly be based off of. Share your own opinions in the comments if you'd like. Alright, the location of the assault rifle is in cabin C30 on the 3rd floor of the Starlight. This is the top left cabin, and a large quantity of cabins. This room will be locked at first, but if you acquire the lockpick, then you can unlock it. And it is in the wardrobe in the top left corner of the room. So now's a good time to mention that you cannot pick up ammo for the weapons if you don't already have the weapon acquired, unfortunately. Because this game doesn't allow you to carry ammo in your inventory, it makes a little bit of sense why that's a thing. Although it still sucks a lot when you try to gather ammo and it doesn't let you, then you have to remember where that ammo was once you get the weapon. Another thing to mention is, look at my shotgun right now. You notice how it has 99? That is actually the limit for a single weapon. Once you get to this point, the game will not let you pick up any more ammo for it until you use some. It's hilarious. So, as it said, it can be tricky to aim. It does have a good range. I'd say it has slightly longer range than the handgun even. But I can tell you from experience, this thing packs a punch. This is a good weapon to use against bosses. But nevertheless, let's test it on this one zombie. I really don't think range is gonna matter all too much with this weapon. But I'm gonna keep it far because these zombies kill when they're at mid to close range. Look at that. It only took 3 shots from the assault rifle to take down that zombie, with all body shots. Let's see what headshots do. Only 2 headshots it took. I was wondering if it was possibly only gonna take 1. But no, that zombie's just too powerful. I can tell you from experience though, if you land a headshot on a crowbar zombie or weaker, it will only take 1 shot. Alrighty then. That's all I have to say about the assault rifle, so let's conclude it. Alright, now for the one and only shotgun. This is a pump-action weapon that is tricky to aim, but gives medium damage. Alrighty, probably the most generic weapon description we've seen so far. And now for this weapon's circularly defined ammo, shotgun shells. These shells are used with the shotgun. Who would have called it? This shotgun in particular is not based on any shotgun, according to IMFDB. It doesn't list any real-life weapon. I guess the latest author of the page just couldn't determine what it could be based off of, so we're leaving it to pure chance here. So I just had a small discussion with my friends in Discord while I'm recording this showcase, and we kind of all came to the conclusion that this very well could be based off of the Benelli M3 from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I'm saying this because there is more than one weapon in this game that is seemingly based off of something we have seen already in Resident Evil 3, including the assault rifle that I already went over. But you also see in a couple future weapons as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. This is probably based off of the sawed-off Benelli M3. The location of the shotgun is in Corridor A on the 2nd floor of the Starlight. This is inside the small alcove in the northwest wall of the corridor, next to a large vase. Alright, and yes, I have the ammo maxed out. If I were to try to pick up any more, it wouldn't let me. Alright, let's test this on this one and only zombie. We're of course gonna only test it at close range, because that's the way you should use shotguns. Well, we got a party here, oh well. Well, it took 4 shells to defeat a zombie at close range. For some reason, he called his posse when I entered that battle. Even though I made sure to clear all the other zombies, but I guess some of them could just randomly spawn when you enter a battle like that. I probably should just enter the battle normally like this. Let's see the range on this thing. It doesn't have as far range as the handgun. I think it's slightly shorter, but nonetheless, it can be used at all ranges. But now let's land only headshots on this zombie. Alright, it only took 2 shotgun shells to defeat the zombie at close range, headshots only. So a pretty good weapon overall, especially at close range and if you land those headshots. Now, unfortunately, there is no magnum in this game, so I can't do my traditional explosive headshot necessarily. So to do an explosive headshot, I am going to take the shotgun to a standard female zombie's face. Ooh, headshot. Alright, well, that is a fitting conclusion to the one and only shotgun in Resident Evil Gaiden. Alright, already in the final category, the explosive weapons, and this is the only category that has more than one weapon. The first I'm going to go over is what the inventory calls the grenade. This is really a grenade launcher or grenade gun. This is a heavy-duty weapon that is harder to aim with, but delivers medium to heavy damage. So when it comes to the descriptions, it seems its emphasis is the power level of the weapon, which is not bad. I am a power contender myself when it comes to the Resident Evil franchise. And now for the ammo, grenade launcher rounds. These rounds are used with the grenade gun. What's funny is they call it GL rounds, not GG rounds. But But yeah, what's interesting is when I examine it here, it looks one way, but then when I exit and look at the icon, it looks slightly different, and instead the gas launcher has its look. So a little bit of inconsistency there. This particular grenade launcher is supposedly the same grenade launcher from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and it does look similar, shape and all. It just has slightly different colored grips and a handle. That being said, this, according to imfdb.org, is a fictional grenade launcher based on two existing grenade launchers. The M79 grenade launcher that we have seen many times, and the DefTech 1315 37mm gas launcher. The location of the grenade launcher is in the refrigerator on the first floor of the Starlight. It is in one of the boxes on the pallets in the middle of the room, and it is only available when Leon joins your party. And yeah, I got quite a bit of ammo for it as well, 42 rounds. All right, let's see the range on this thing. About the same as the shotgun, I'd say. Or maybe the pistol. Well, yeah, let's test it out. So it took 5 grenade rounds to take down that zombie with body shots. Now let's try headshots. Alright, I cut it by more than half. It only took 2 grenade rounds at close range to defeat the zombie with a grenade launcher. Alrighty then. Well, that's all I'm gonna say about it. Yeah, we're just blazing through this one. This is gonna be a very short and simple review, but I'm having more fun with it than I did Survivor 2, that's for sure. Alright, that's it for the grenade launcher, or grenade gun, or grenade. Now for the next explosive weapon, the rocket launch. I don't know if they just forgot to put ER or they didn't have enough room. Let's check it out. This is a top-of-the-range armor-piercing weapon. Although it is hard to aim, it will deliver heavy damage. We shall see about that. And now let's look at the ammo for the rocket launcher. Rocket launcher missiles. These missiles are used with the rocket launcher. Well, at least it doesn't call them rockets. They use missiles instead. But it's funny is it looks like the grenade rounds, it just has red tops instead of gray ones. It makes it look like these are potential flame rounds for the grenade launcher. Clearly, this is the same rocket launcher that we have seen in both Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And that being said, this is based off the M202 Flash. Alright. The location of the rocket launcher is in the special storage room on the first floor of the Starlight. It is inside the crates on the northwest corner of the room, and it only appears here after taking control of Leon. So let's see the range on this thing. Yep, it definitely has the farthest range of all the weapons we've gone through so far. It nearly goes to the very end of the screen. On all sides. But now let's test out its firepower. If anyone has seen my original weapon review, you probably have an idea of what's coming, and it will blow your mind. Can you believe it? A rocket launcher, of all things, took 3 missiles to defeat the zombie. Rocket launchers are supposed to be those one-shot only weapons. So what the hell is going on here? Let's try out headshots. I got it down to 2 rockets, but it still at no point took only 1 shot against the zombie. That is extremely lame for a rocket launcher, if you ask me. It's only just as powerful as the assault rifle and shotgun. Are you kidding me? So yeah, that's all I have to say about it. That is by far the weakest rocket launcher I've ever come across so far in this series. We'll see if any of them could match it in terms of weakness. But otherwise, that is going to conclude the rocket launcher, or rocket launch. Alright, time for the final weapon of Resident Evil Gaiden, the gas launcher. When faced with too many enemies, use this weapon. 1 hit will clear a whole room. Alright, so the game is letting you know that this is the strongest weapon in the game, basically through that. And now to go over the final bit of ammo. GG rounds. These rounds are used with the gas launcher. Okay, circular definition. But what's really peculiar is they call the regular rounds GL rounds and they call these GG rounds. What does GG stand for in this case? Grenade gas or gas grenade? That's the only thing I can think of. And by the looks of it, this is the same exact launcher as the regular grenade launcher. The only difference is it doesn't have an attachment on the barrel. But again, when we leave this screen and go back to the inventory, it does have the attachment. So between the grenade launcher and the gas launcher, their icons were swapped between the inventory and the examine screen. But anyway, that being said, this is still based off that fictional grenade launcher that's a hybrid of the M79 and the DefTech. And gas, I guess you could say, calls back to Resident Evil Code Veronica X with the gas rounds, because it has roughly the same effect, although a lot better. Instead of just cutting the enemy's health in half, it defeats all of the enemies in the room. This is an amazing weapon when it comes to crowds. The location of the gas launcher is in the operation room on the 4th floor of the Starlight. It is on the control panel on the east side of the room, and this only appears here when playing as Leon after Lucia and Barry have left the ship. So let's check the range of it. Pretty much the same as the regular launcher. So let's test it out. Alright, so yeah, range does not matter whatsoever. I don't even think you have to directly hit the zombie. Let's test that, actually. Yeah, you don't even have to hit the zone in order to defeat enemies in here. This weapon would look a lot better if I tested it on a crowd of zombies. So I got a crowd of zombies here. Let's test on these guys. There you go. That is a good demonstration of what this thing is capable of. Alright, now let me show you a cool trick or glitch with the gas launcher, because you'll realize once you have it, you'll probably just do this for the rest of the game. If you're in a battle with any enemy other than a unskippable boss, if you tried to leave the battle, which is a feature in this game, if you press the select button or something, then your bar changes into this shape, and you have to hit the center in order to run away from the battle. So let me show you that with a regular weapon first. Okay, see, I left the battle just like that. The risk with this thing is enemies will almost always inflict some damage on you before you leave. So it's a very risky thing to do. But if you have the gas launcher equipped for whatever reason, and you try to do that, watch what happens. It still releases the gas. And what's funny is it does not use up a round. So essentially, you have infinite ammunition for the gas launcher when you leave battles like that. The only risk factor, once again, though, is there is a high chance that you'll get damaged if you try to do that. Just to show more. There you go. Alrighty, people. Well, that's gonna conclude the last weapon in Resident Evil Gaiden. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my short but sweet ultimate weapon showcase of Resident Evil Gaiden. I had fun with this, even though it was short and very simplistic. I love retro games like this, to be honest, being a 90s kid and growing up in that era. And I think the soundtrack is rockin'. But when it comes to weapons, this game is super simplistic, has the least amount of weapons in the entire franchise, and yeah. Well, let's go ahead and add the total now to the grand total of weapons we have so far. So adding a total of 7 weapons to the total of 70 that we have so far makes our grand total 77 at this point. Alrighty then. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the weapon showcase, and finally we're gonna have a really good game ahead. The next game in the lineup is the first remake. The remake of the first Resident Evil game that was originally released for GameCube and then got a remaster in 2015. I, of course, am going to play the remastered version on Steam with top resolution and frame rate. I'll go into more detail when I make it. But that's next for you guys. Look forward to it. Alrighty, this is Shankster94, aka the Gamer Shankster. Slap a like on the video, don't forget to comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that notification bell and select all so you get notified immediately when I upload a new video. Don't forget to follow me on all social medias listed here, starting with X Twitter at Shankster_94, follow my Facebook page, and support me on Patreon. Shout out to Feargale the Fearless for being my one and only active patron. And finally, follow my Discord server if you haven't already. Great place for you guys to hang out if you're fans of the channel, or if you're a fan of Resident Evil in general, and you could be included in the production of these weapon showcases like this one. Alrighty, people, have a good day. I shall see y'all in the ultimate weapon showcase for Resident Evil Remake. Peace out.